Now let's look at the parts of the document that create the structure of the document. For this purpose, we're going to use our transitional DTD, and actually for most of the rest of the course, we're going to use the transitional DTD for reasons that we talked about in our last session. The structure of the document is all of these other tags besides the ones that actually create the content, starting with the HTML tag, and the HTML end tag is way down here, which means that everything in between is the content of the HTML container, which is the HTML document itself. Next, we see the head tag, which is also a container. Here's the end of the head tag. So everything in between there is part of the head of the document, as distinct from the body of the document. The head of the document contains things that describe the document or help the document to perform or help the browser to deal with the document, but aren't part of the body of the document itself. For example, in this case, we have the meta tag and the title. The meta tag is used for meta information. That would be information about the document that helps other things describe the document or deal with the document. In this case, this meta tag describes the character set of the document, in this case ISO 8859-1. The reason for this is really just for the HTML validators, which are starting to require a character set. A little bit of history about character sets. Originally, when computers were new, there was one character set. It was called ASCII, the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And that contained about 90 or so displayable characters, 128 characters in all. And it's mostly the American alphabet and a few punctuation characters. This is the stuff that you see on your keycaps on an American keyboard. And that was fine for a while Americans were the only ones using those computers, and people who used computers in other countries would use variations on the ASCII character set that described their characters. But mostly that was just Western languages, and other countries like China and Japan had a lot of trouble with keyboards. Well, over the years, computers have become more international, and the ISO, which is an organization called the International Organization for Standards, which does not spell ISO, they have come up with a standard for a Western character set, which is called Standard 8859-1, and standards for other character sets. The ones in the 8859 series are Western-like or similar to ours, and then there's other character sets as well. This character set is the most popular character set on the internet, and it's the one that we're using. Now, the W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, actually recommends a different character set called UTF-8, which is a Unicode character set with many, many more characters that can describe documents, that can perform for documents, a much broader variation of languages. Unfortunately, that character set doesn't work in all the current browsers, let alone the older browsers. So I recommend if your document's going to be publicly accessible on the web, that you use this meta tag right here. And it's what's on our CD-ROM in the templates that we'll talk about soon in our next lesson. And so that's just what I recommend that you put in there. And if you need other character sets, the World Wide Web Consortium's website at w3c.org has a whole lot of information about choosing a character set and how to describe it in your document. Next, we have the title element, which we've seen before. It describes this document, which says doc type transitional. And we'll notice that if we bring up this document in our web browser, and let me just do that real quick here, take the transitional document, drop it in the web browser, and there it is. You see the title of the document right there, doc type transitional, and that's what we have right in here, doc type transitional. Now we have the body tag itself, and the end tag for the body is down here. So everything in between there is the body of the document. That's the stuff that you see in the browser right there. That's the body of the document. You notice here that I have a BG color, and that's the minimum amount of information that I suggest you put in your body tag. There are other things you can put there as well, but at a minimum, I suggest you put in a BG color. That tells the browser to use a white background. Some people, originally browsers defaulted to gray. Some people still have gray as their default. I keep it that way in my browser on purpose, just so I can tell when I forget to put in the BG color. I suggest you do the same thing. Set your background color in your browser to gray. That way you'll never forget to put in a background color in your documents when you make them, because most documents look pretty crappy in gray.